Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. This Wasting Watting. So today we are going to be talking about just an introduction to Python and data structure. That Python data structure, and in it we are going to deal with these two basics before going to the advanced. And I think the advanced should be dictionary. Yeah. So. We are talking about lists and tuples. So actually lists and tuples, they are kind of similar, but a little different, but everything is actually similar. So I'm just going to create our use this opportunity to create the environment, but actually we are not doing any tasks. I just want to explain few things we should get to get to know about lists and everything actually. So this is what we have here. So everything here I'm just going to explain based on the idea of JavaScript. Lists, if you are talking about lists, is just like you saying arrays in JavaScript. Arrays is kind of similar to this thing. So maybe in JavaScript they call it array, then in Python it is called list. So that is it. So sorry, I just copy this because this is one of the important directory I'm going to be creating right away for the remaining of this project, but I'll use that to gain a lot. So I'm just going to open so let me go away from here like that, and that's, oh shit, yeah, good. So now that we have that set right away, now we can navigate to our desktop. Yeah, then navigate to ALX stuff like that. Then I'm going to make a directory. So if you cannot see that, I'm zooming so you see what I'm doing, dir, so you can see that clearly. So I'm going to paste what I copied right away. So paste that, good, and I'm going to hit enter, and we are good to go. So now if we check our list, we have the x03 python data underscore structure, which we are good to go. Now the next thing is I'm going to the inside that 3. I think that is the only thing that I have 3 there. So let me just use a shortcut. Yeah, that, and we are inside it. So now we can list. You see that this is clearly an empty directory. There is really nothing inside there, so it's really empty. So I'm just going to make a file called introduction.py. So introduction.py. So that is what I'm going to call it. So if we list, you see shit, oh sorry, I think, oh, let me touch it, touch. Oh, what's wrong with me? Yeah, good. Good, yeah, that's what I was looking for. So we have it here. See, introduction.py. So that's the file we created. So let me change the mode, u plus x, like that, then the name of the file, like that. So good, it is now executable. Now that is the permission I've given it. Clear again, good. So now that we have this, we can go ahead to start this in the lecture. So I'm just going to vi inside the introduction.py. I'm just going to open it, then start making some little changes. So I'm going to put this, because without this your file, your Python script won't run. usr slash bin slash python 3. just like that. So we're talking about the first thing I want to introduce there is list. Then if you have a full idea of list, then you can easily relate with tuples because they are kind of the same. So the first thing is I'm just going to call it my list, like this. Sorry, my lost, no, not lost, list, I mean list. So whenever you are creating a list, especially it is stored in a variable called my list, you put the equals to sign, then you put a square bracket. Can you see that? So this square bracket, whatever information inside here can be in any data type. So when I'm talking about data type, what I mean is we can have numbers like 1, 2, 3, or you can call it integers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -1, -2, or you can have a string like Wisting inside the quote, hello inside the quote, hi inside the quote, or you can have booleans like true or false, or we can have float or whatever kind of information we want. Now, what are the important? Why do we need an array? Why do we need a list? What's the important? Why are we learning this? Now, you know that storing of data and retrieving data is very important in when it comes to computer science. We need input and we also give output. So it depends on what it is receiving, which is very, 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 very important. So now, if you notice that we have been storing variables like this, for instance, I can say list one, I can call this, let me just give an example. For instance, we have list one like this, and it's equals to 1. So maybe we want to create multiple lists. So I can just copy this and start pasting multiple places and be changing it. Replace this to 2. Come to this place and replace it with 2. Come here, replace with 3, and come to this place and replace with 3, and come here, replace with 4, and come to this place and replace with 4. So if I want to access each element now, like this, I'll be typing them, I'll be printing them one by one. So you can see that would be a waste of time, because printing all these things, it wastes time, waste resource, waste space, waste line, and it will be very slow. So that is why we need array. Like all these things that I'm just writing, list 1, list 2, waste of time, I can smash it into one. So I can just delete all this because we don't need it. So I come to this other place. Now you can see this list 1. So I can store a lot of information inside my list. So how can I do that? Instead of just storing one information, I can store multiple information, more informations or more data inside. So I can store a number 1, 2, 3, like this. Can you see? And I can print out those numbers. I can also store a string like 1, O-N-E, 1, I can store 2, T-W-O, and I can store this again, T-H-R-E-E, like this. And I might decide to print all this stuff out. You understand? So if I just say for all lists, let me just call it, or let me just put AL for A in my list. So I'm looping through each information. But if I'm trying to say I want to loop through all those things that I'm listing, list 1, list 2, list 3, that will waste a lot of time. And it's not even to waste. So that is why it is important. So I can loop through all those things by just saying print all those information out. So I just put A there. A in there and put my F here, just like this. So I can hit that and I can execute it now and come to this place because I've already changed the permission to execute. Now you can see I have 1 2 3 4 1 2 3, then 1 2 3 in words printed out. All these things are stored in one array. And all these arrays have different just one address, but you might decide to split them by looping through each address to assign it to each individual data type there. So you can see that. So this is how you can access this. If you want to print out this thing, you might decide to say, okay, I want to print the information the way it is. So I can just say print, I can put open bracket, then I just call my, then underscore list. So I can go and run it and you see what I'm going to get as my output. Can you see? 1, 2, 3, then ONE1, TWO2, THREE3. You can see that. So you see how I can access. I can even access this information one by one. Now let me tell you how what we have again that I just remember to discuss about here is index. We have what is called index in list. So the index of each information matters. So for instance, we have 1 here. The index of this one is 0. The index of this 2, number 2, is 0. Is 1. The index of this 3 here is 2. The index of this ONE, that is this one that is a string here, is 3. This is 4. And this is 5. So you can access it with their index. So we start our counting from 0. That's how we do counting. So if we have multiple information, you start counting from 0. So I'm going to remove all these, the ones we have strings, so it will be a way too easy. I'm going to put random numbers like that, 9. So like this. So we start our counting from here. This is 0. This is 1. This is 2. This is 3. And this is 4. So you can see I'm counting the index. So if, for instance, I want to print 7, I'll come in here. I want to print out 7. I'll call it like this. Inside here, 7, what is the index of 7? 0, 1, and 2. So the index of 7 is 2. So if I come in this box and I can just type in 2 there, and we are good to go. So now if I go and run that, you can see 7 is printed out on the screen. That's good. So that is for accessing individual index. I might decide to come in and I want to print number 1. So I'll just pass in 0 because the index of 1 is 0. So if we go and run that, you see 1 is printed out. What about if we want to print a certain part of this? Maybe I want to print only I want to print from 7 to 9. How can I do that? Now, based on the logic that we have been applying before, 7 to 9 will be how many? Starting from here, let's assume that this is 1, 2, 3. So 3, from this 3, then I can just count from that 3. I can come here and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 and 5. So I can just say 3 to 5. So it's a bit different from the index. So what I'm doing now is not index. So that's why I'm not counting from 0. I'm counting from 1, 2, 3, which is stop at 7, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can just 3 ratio 5, just like that. So this 3 stops at what? 7. This 5 stop at 9. So let's see what is going to be printed out, so know what to do next. Wow, you can see that we have 3 and 9 printed out, but we want 7 to be what? Included in this. So maybe I'm going to reduce it. So let me get rid of that 3 and put 2 there. So that means the counting is actually from 0. 0, 1, then 2. You can see that. Then for 5, 0, 1, 2. So there is even extra added to it. So because the extra is not available, that is why it is not printed out. So you can see 739 is printed on our screen. So if, for instance, I try to increase this, I'm not sure anything is going to happen if I replace this with something like 7. So let me see whether anything is going to happen if I do that. Nothing happened. It's still the same because the counting actually is from 0. So for instance, I want to print from 2, 7, and 3. 2, 7, and 3. That is the only part I want to print. How can I do that? I can come here and replace this 2. The value of 2 there is 0, 1. So I'm going to replace this with 1. Then 3. The index of 3 there is what? 0, 1, 2, and 3. So the index of 3 there is 3. So I can replace that with 3. So let's see what we get. So you can see we have 2, 7. So let me see what is going on. 2, 7 is printed out, but I want 3 to be included. 0, 1, 2, 3. So let me increase it, replace it with 4, like that. Okay, so 3 is also included. So you see, you can play around with all these things to know how they work, understand it for yourself, which is very important. So that is about list. And again, do you know that there are other amazing things we can also do with lists? Depend on how we want to get our information. You know, if I do this like this, you see that we start the list that is printed accordingly. We might decide that we want to print this in a reversed order. Are you with me? Good. So we might want to print this in a reverse order. So I might just say, okay, insert mode. Then I can just say my underscore list. Sorry, list. Then dot. This is a method here called reverse. So let's see if this works. So you can see it actually works. It starts from what? 9, 7, 12, 2, 1. Can you imagine? That is one of the amazing features that Python have. There are a lot more which I am very sure we should be able to exhaust. Now that is for reverse. Now let's look at another one again. Let's talk about sort. So I'm going to try to sort things out. So now sort arranges based on this thing. So it arranges things based on their numerical order or their alphabetic order. So that's what sort does. But I don't know if it works with number. So let me just try that with number. sort. I think it's sort or sorted, anyone. But let's try sort and see if sort works. Then we try sorted to check. Okay, good, it works. Now you can see, if you look at what we have here, we have 1, 2, 7, 3, 9. When you come to the place that I've added the sort, what happens? We have what? In this place, 1, 2, 3. Instead of 1 to come next, 3 came next, then by 7, then it arranges this stuff in its order, the way it ought to be. Good. So that is for sort. I've talked about 2 now. So there are a lot more. Then we have another one called title. Now I will explain what title does. The work of title actually, if for instance we have list of words here, so my list, I can come here, let me remove this number and put things like names. So I can just call let me say God, and let me use small letter for the God, then is, then the last one again, good. So now you can see in this case, if I'm printing this God is good, you know that God, G-O-D, ought to be in capital letter. So, but there is a big issue here because we have a small letter there. But with these amazing features, you can access that God, then what? You capitalize it. How are we going to do that? I am going to put this as that. I'm going to access the index of God. The index there of God is what? 0. That's the index of God. Then I'm going to put this one called title. Can you see? Title, then open and close, and that is it. So you can see that. So if we go and run, can you see what is printed out? God is printed out with a capital letter what? G, O, with small letter O and D. So you can even add other stuff like uppercase, lowercase to and other stuff like that if you want everything to be in capital letter, but we are not doing that right now. So I hope you guys you get that right away. So that is for my list. I'm not done. There is still a lot of features and there's still a lot more to cover up. Now, do you know that in a list we can provide a lot of numbers and look for the sum, look for the maximum, and also look for the minimum? How? Let's see. So I'm going to come to this other part. Then I'm going to get rid of this information we have here. Sorry, I deleted the other bracket. So we have, let me put passing random numbers like 6, 2, 8, 1, 4, like random numbers like that. That's not all that. Now the next thing I want to do here is I want to look for the sum of everything, like I mean the sum. So if I come in here and just say sum, let me add something. Okay, let me not put sum because sum there is already a used word. So let me look for something that looks good. So let me just say total, like this. Good. The total we have there, I put equals to, then I put sum. Now in that sum, I pass in the value of my underscore list, just like that. Can you see that? So I come over here and I want to print the total output we have there. So I can just come here and say total, just like that. And I'm going to do that and run it. So everything there gave 21. Actually, is it 21? So let's go and confirm if it is 21. If the total is 21, 6 plus 2, that should be how many? That should be 7, 8. Yeah, that should be 8. 6 plus 2 is 8 plus 8 again, that is 16. That is 6 plus 2 plus 8, that should be 16. 16 plus 1, that is 17. 17 plus 4, that is 21. So that's absolutely correct. So now we want to look for the maximum number. So for us to be able to look for maximum number, you come to this place and you type max like that. So I can still leave the total. Total actually does not mean anything. It can hold any information. So this is going to look for the biggest number. And what's the biggest number in this place? The biggest number here is 8. Yeah, the biggest number here is 8. Good. Biggest number here is 8 actually. So I expect it to be printed out. So let's go and check it out to see. You see, 8 is printed out. So that's very, very amazing. We can even look for minimum number by replacing that with min, sorry, like that, min. So min, then your list is passed inside, and we are going to do a lot of calculations. I just hit there, and you see, 1 is the minimum number we have there. Good. So that is for my list. So there are other things we can do. We can even compare two lists. We can mesh two lists, which I cannot cover up in this thing. In fact, we can even pick from a list and subtract whatever value we have there from that list. We want any value that is in that list. We want to subtract it from that. There are a lot of things you can do with a list. A lot of stuff that you can do with a list. Very powerful function, powerful tool we have in Python and in every other programming language, like arrays. We talk about JavaScript, for sure, one of the powerful this thing, and that is it. So tuples, what's the difference? Tuples also have the same features, such just like what's it called, a list. But what's the difference between a tuple and a list? What's the difference? Actually, the difference we have here is, let me just show you. So let me show you the difference. So the difference is that instead of using a square bracket, we use this. So what's this called? Kind of a parenthesis. So this is a tuple. This is a tuple. You know, that thing you can pass one information, but in this case, you can also do something like this. If you leave it like this is not recognized as a tuple. If, for instance, I'm passing one information, if, for instance, I'm passing one information, so maybe let me leave this total here, and let me try something like my list there. My list. Let's see what's going to happen. You see, there's an error. Int object is okay. Let me get rid of it. Let me comment that out. So I'll just put arch here to comment it out. Now I will go ahead and run that again. So you see, 6 is printed out. Like 6 is printed out. But what about if we add a comma at the end? Like this, comma, and try to print it out. You can see now the bracket is added to tell you that the first one I did was not a tuple. This is a tuple because the bracket is added with a comma there. So when you add the last comma, whether you put it or you not put it, it's considered that is a tuple. So now I might decide to run this and I don't expect that error to come out again. I'm not sure, because I expect whatever works for the list should work for the this thing, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Wow, it still work without throwing the error. You know that at that time it was throwing error that what this int is whatever. So you can see now I can go up there now and add other information and apply the same thing, the same things that I've done to the other one for this tuple, and see. So we have 5 comma, we have 1 comma, and we have 3. So we want to look for the minimum in this. Okay, we want to look for the minimum, then we look for the maximum. So instead of putting my list there, I'm going to come over here, get rid of this, and put total in there, total. So just like that, then we are good to go. So now you can see the minimum there is 1. 1 is printed out. Let's look for a maximum. So I can come in here and move this and put max, just like that, like max. Good, max. So 6 is printed out exactly like a list, so they are a way the same, very the same. So I can come in and look for sum. Let's try sum and see if sum is going to give us the total. So 6 plus 5, that is how many? 11. 11 plus 1, that is 12. 12 plus 3, that is 15. So we expect our outcome to be 15, and if 15 is not coming out, something is wrong somewhere. Okay. Wow, 15 is out, and I'm very happy I saw 15, because I'm thinking, hey, where is the problem coming from actually? So 15 is out there. So even you want to access those information, so I'm going to comment this out. I'm going to comment this out. So I've commented that out. Now for instance, we want to access information the way we access it in the other one. So my underscore list list. So I want 3 to be printed. No, yeah, I want 3 to be printed out. What is the index of 3? So to access it, you use a square bracket too, as you are using it for list. So I want 3 to be printed out. What is the index of 3? Index of 3 here is, we have 0, 1, 2, 3. So the index of 3 is still 3. So I can pass in 3 there. And I'm going to run that. 3 is printed out, just like how the list work. The tuple also work like that. But I'm giving you guys an assignment. Go and make research. What's the difference between a list and a tuple? And please, if you have done that, you can just do me a favor by dropping it on the comment section there. Please don't also forget to subscribe to my channel if you really enjoy this, because I'm just helping you guys for you to be guys to make personal research. What's the difference between a tuple and a list? And when you have done that, please don't forget to come back and drop it on the comment section, and subscribe if you have not done that. Like, because you guys are not liking. Actually, you are not liking. Please like. I'm begging you, like. So now maybe I might want to change. I want to print 5. What's the index of 5? Index of 5 is 1, so I can just put 1 there, and we are good to go. Yeah, so 5 is printed out. So even the other one that we have done. So for instance, I want to print 5 and 1. So the index of 5 there is, and this inside I can just put 1 ratio and 0, 1, 2, so I can just put 3 there. So now I can just go here and hit enter. You see 5 and 1 is printed. So now the second one you put there determines the number of values you want to print, starting from the point you have selected. So 3 minus 1, this 3 minus 1 will give you what? How many? That is 2. So that means you want to print 2 elements. If it is 4, 4 here minus 1, that means you want to print 3 elements. 4 minus 1 is 3. So that means 3 elements are going to be printed out. So that's just a simple logic you apply if it's a bit confusing. So you can go through it, look at it, study, make your own research, and I hope you guys really understand this session. Okay, let me add this before I drop the mic. Good. There's another way again of getting to print tuples or to input tuples, and how can we do that? So I'm just going to get rid of this. So I'm going to create a function. Oh, sorry, I'm writing function like I'm dealing with JavaScript. So I'm going to create a function, and I'm going to call the function test. Now, for you to be able to create a tuple, as in a function, and you pass information in there, is going to be printed out in a tuple way. I can just put a star here, then I can call it anything I feel like calling it. So I can just call it wisdom list. Let me just call it wisdom, like that. So now we have that. I can come in here. So you can see that. So I can loop through informations and try to print them out. Okay, I don't need to print anything out. So I can just come in here and put print, come in there and print, I'll just say print wisdom, like that. And I'm good to go. So now I can call that function which I've just created test, and now I've declared the function. I can pass as many information I want to pass, and it's going to arrange it as a tuple. So I can come here and put fun, one, and three. So just like this information, you can pass a lot of information I feel like passing in here, just like that, and it's going to be printed as if it's a tuple. Can you see? A tuple is printed out. Can you see? A tuple is printed out. If it's actually a list, if it is a list, for instance, you want a function that is going to accept stuff as a list, you can just come in here and just pass something like me, or just say wisdom. Then I'm going to use a square bracket. So automatically Python knows that you're actually dealing with a list. So that is that for this. So see you in our next tutorial, where we go into details about lists and tuples by solving or approaching different tasks, looking for solution. So have nice having you guys here in my channel, and see you. Please don't forget to smash the like button. Don't forget to do that, and don't also forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed. Thank you.